Top 10 fam? Hope you're having an awesome day. I'm your host Ayman Hassan and welcome back to another video. Now I actually quite liked puppets when I was young, I'm not gonna lie. I watched shows with them and stuff as a kid, so I'm not as averse to them as some people are, like how they are with clowns, and they're like, clowns, I can't. I'm not one of those people. But before I get into it guys, we are currently hosting a giveaway on the channel. The prize is $100 and a signed most amazing hoodie. All you have to do is go like our Facebook page and like and comment on the latest exclusive video on there for a chance to win. And it ends on the 12th, so I suggest you guys hurry your asses up. Let's move on, let's get on it. But back to puppets, these are the top 10 scary puppets that could be alive. Starting us off at number 10 is BRAHMS. Bruh, I read this story and I was like, goddamn. Now BRAHMS is a porcelain doll slash puppet protagonist of the 2016 horror film The Boy. A very old couple hires Greta, a babysitter, to look after their son BRAHMS, who is this puppet. Creepy, I know. They give her a very strict set of rules to follow while they're away, but seeing as their son is an inanimate puppet, Greta doesn't really follow the rules, and honestly I don't blame her. But then her clothes and jewelry start disappearing, she starts hearing children sobbing and laughing in the attic, she starts getting locked in rooms unexplainably, just goes tits up. She's then informed by the housekeeper that the couple's real son BRAHMS died in a house fire 20 years prior on his 8th birthday, but that the real BRAHMS was just very odd. He used to only have one friend who would come to play at their house, and one day she was found dead in the woods surrounding the house with her skull crushed in. But BRAHMS died before being questioned, so we don't know who actually did it. My guess? BRAHMS, the creepy little kid. Yeah. Greta then realizes BRAHMS, the puppet, can move on his own and will always move when she's not in the room. Greta and his parents believe BRAHMS' spirit lives inside this puppet, and that's why it's kept around despite being creepy as hell. Either way, I feel like this children dying at a young age is a thing, and them attaching their spirit to a puppet or toy they always play with could also have been a thing, but I'd rather never meet a BRAHMS in real life. No. Coming in at number 9 is Blade. Now Blade is a living puppet that features in all the Puppet Master movies so far. He was created by Andre Toulon, a German puppet maker during World War II, and Blade actually has the soul of Dr. Hess inside of him. Hess was a German medical doctor and surgeon who betrayed the Nazis and then got killed by being stabbed to death. Not a very nice death, I'm not gonna lie. Appearance wise, Blade is creepy as hell. He's small, only 1 foot 9 inches, but he has a skull for a head. One of his hands is a hook, whereas the other one is a knife blade, both of which he has no trouble using, by the way. He's killed 26 people already, and although all the puppets are scary in the movie, I think Blade as the leader of Toulon's army of killer dolls just takes the cake, and I don't need that. Ever. At number 8 we have HUGO. Now HUGO comes from the 1945 horror film Dead of Night, where he is the puppet of Maxwell Frere, a very unbalanced ventriloquist, who believes HUGO is truly alive. And we only find that out because the main character Walter Craig is at a cottage being told all these scary stories from the guests. Now in the 5th story he's told, the police are investigating an attempted murder, and Maxwell keeps saying HUGO is more to blame for all of this than me. We see HUGO getting into a fight with Maxwell and punching him in many flashbacks. At one point Maxwell even shoots HUGO because he's just sick of this negative energy on him all the time. His part of the story ends when Craig starts murdering all the guests, but that cuts to Craig just waking up from a nightmare of him doing that in bed. But he's not just waking up, he's waking up because HUGO, the puppet from the story, is strangling him in real life. You know when you get told the story and you think it's fictional and it's not, and you're like, alrighty then, okay. Filling on number 7 slot is Billy. From the 2007 supernatural horror film Dead Silence, Billy is a ventriloquist doll given to Jamie and Lisa Ashin. While Lisa plays with Billy, someone approaches her, she screams and presumably dies. The detective investigating her death finds a note in Billy's box about Mary Shaw, the ventriloquist that made him. Turns out Mary was humiliated by a boy called Michael who screamed about seeing her lips move during one of her performances. Where are Michael's parents? Tell him to shut the hell up. We don't need little kids ruining the performance. I hate when they do that. Hate it. A few weeks later, Michael disappears and the blame gets put on Mary, who's later lynched. But her last wish was being turned into a dummy puppet and being buried with all her puppets. The mortician that saw Mary saw her rise after she was turned into a puppet, but was spared because he didn't scream. The thing is, she only kills those who do scream, so the whole movie is essentially people trying not to be terrified of her so they don't get killed. And you can bet your I'd scream as soon as I saw any of those puppets, so there's no hope for me. I'd be the first person dead in this movie 100%. I won't even make it past the opening credits, honestly. Credit me on IMDb for 1 second of the film. Now at number 6 is SLAPPY. So SLAPPY is a huge villain in the Goosebumps series. He's in a lot of the Living Dummy saga, and he's this very creepy, very perfect looking puppet. And I'm pretty sure I've read a few of the books in the saga when I was younger, and they terrified me even when I was small. Small with an O, not an A. Either way, even the fiber of SLAPPY's being is scary. It was carved out of coffin wood by a sorcerer, and when the sorcerer died, he put his own soul into SLAPPY. He's undoubtedly evil and sadistic. When awakened, he tries to enslave anyone and everyone around him. He blames everyone else for his misdoings and pranks people to the point of death. Like, sometimes people take a joke too far, but like this is taking the joke too far, you know what I mean? Mr. Wood, who we talk about later on, is his brother and guaranteed is 100% worse. All in all, SLAPPY is the biggest pain in the ever, and we don't need him around. Plain and simple. In conclusion, that's the end of my essay. Coming in at number 5 is the clown. I know in the movie Poltergeist, most people focus on the ghosts that are haunting the family's house, and fair enough, and how that's the scary part, but people are just sleeping on the whole clown puppet creep thing. Like, is no one gonna talk about that scene? Or we're just gonna sweep it under the rug? It was ranked 80 on Bravo's 100 scariest movie moments ever, like just this scene alone, so we really shouldn't sleep on it. The scene involves a clown puppet in Robbie's room attacking him and being an all-around killer. It's just sitting on a chair staring at Robbie, and as he tries to sleep and ignore it, it just disappears. He checks under the bed, and when he comes back up, the clown is there on his bed starting to choke the living guts out of him, which I would have honestly expected from a clown puppet anyway, let's be real. Bad juju everywhere. They're not good. They're never good. Oliver Robbins, who actually played Robbie in the movie, said he nearly died after being choked by the arms of the evil puppet. He said he had to be saved by Steven Spielberg during the event to avoid further harm. So I mean, this clown literally has a mind of its own and was known to be a menace on set during the movie. So I mean, this one is definitely still alive somehow, and why haven't we burnt it yet? That's my biggest question. That's life's biggest question. At number 4 is Mr. Wood, and I feel like if you're a fan of R.L. Stine and his iconic Goosebumps books, then you will know who Mr. Wood is already. He was the antagonist in Night of the Living Dummy, where two sisters find a puppet called SLAPPY. Lindy uses SLAPPY to perform ventriloquist acts and gains a lot of popularity, and her sister Chris gets jealous. You know the classic sibling rivalry, we all do it, we've all done it, we love our siblings very much, but we'll stab a bitch if need be. A few days later, their dad reveals that he bought a puppet from a pawn shop for Chris as well, and they dub it Mr. Wood. But as soon as this puppet enters their lives, it's madness. Anytime Chris has him on her hand, it starts hurling inappropriate insults at anyone around her despite her not being the one talking. The puppet moves by itself, has its own mind, and eventually physically hurts both girls, kicking freaking Chris in the stomach like goddamn nothing is sacred anymore. Mr. Wood then insists Lindy and Chris are his slaves and that they don't really have a choice, since they even try decapitating him, but he just refuses to be harmed. He's unbreakable. He even starts choking their dog to show how serious he is, like come on, at least leave Barky out of it. He didn't even do anything. Do we have to get the dog? Why? Filling on number 3 slot is Pinocchio, and no, we're not talking about the sweet lying boy from the Disney movie, we're talking about the crazy murderous puppet from the 1996 film Pinocchio's Revenge. Now the plot revolves around the case against Vincent Gotto, who murdered his own son. Morbid, I know. His son had a large Pinocchio doll which was entered as evidence in the case, in which the lawyer ends up taking home. The lawyer's mentally unstable daughter Zoe mistakes the puppet for her birthday gift and becomes very attached. She starts talking to it, and things get troubling when a girl who used to bully Zoe at school gets pushed in front of a bus. Who did that, you may be asking? Pinocchio, obviously. He then later pushes the lawyer's boyfriend down the stairs for no apparent reason, and we find out it wasn't even Vincent who killed his son, it was this evil puppet. Like, how many people are you trying to kill, man? Pinocchio then convinces Zoe to cut his strings and let him prove Vincent's innocence, but obviously that's just a ruse, and he just runs free and stays evil. He nearly kills Zoe and her mum with a fireplace poker, for God's sake. Like, come on people, someone put this guy behind bars. Like, this is not the Pinocchio we know and love. We do not stan him. Unstan. Anti-stan. Now at number 2 is Fats. Now this old school looking puppet comes from the 1978 psychological horror film Magic. The plot follows Corky, an unsuccessful magician who switches to being a successful ventriloquist with his foul-mouthed dummy Fats. But is not okay behind the scenes because Fats isn't just a puppet, he's a manifestation of Corky's id. Id being one of the 3 parts of your personality based on Sigmund Freud's theory. The id is subconscious and represents what we want, our impulsive desires, the childish and impulsive part of us that doesn't think about consequences, it just thinks about its pleasure. We realize Fats and Corky fight even when he's not on stage, implying Corky has quite a few mental problems. Fats has the power to convince Corky to commit murder and even use Fats as a weapon to do so. The puppet becomes increasingly possessive and jealous and tells Corky that he makes the decisions in his life, not Corky himself. Like, I am the captain now, Fats, look at me. And I just feel like this overpowering possessive puppet just isn't my kind of vibe. It's not the kind of vibe I need in my life, so I'm just not gonna acknowledge him or his existence. Thank you. And finally, at number 1 is Billy the Puppet, and any fan of horror movies will get this one straight away because he is the sinister and notorious puppet from Saw. Jigsaw may be the true villain of the franchise, but Billy is his doomsayer, the creepy red-eyed, target-cheeked puppet who just continuously delivers bad news to all his victims. Like, I can't imagine how many people have killed Billy in their heads in the most gruesome way possible while he's just telling them how they have to kill each other to survive or some shit like that. Even I've killed Billy in my head and I'm not even in the game, for God's sake, so you can well imagine how many people hate Billy. Like, you're telling me this small ass hoe is riding around on his annoying ass bicycle telling me I have to chop pieces of my flesh off, put it on a weighing scale so I can survive this game? Hell no. Hell no. I'm gonna slap the shit out of him. I'm gonna kick him right off that bicycle. And that's it for today's video, guys. Honestly, I started this video not really minding puppets, and now I'm like, yeah, maybe not. Let's not get into that, shall we? Let's not. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments below, and as always, I'm your host, Eamon Hassan, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye. Hee hee. No, you know when you get told a story and you just think it's fiction? A few weeks later, Michael disappeared, and he can't blame it on Mary, can he? Because he's f***ing dead. Amen. Stupid. But her last wish before being dead. But her last wish before dying is being turned into a f***ing hell. But her last wish before being. No, it's not. Whatever. Calm down, Amen. Speak slower. This is not a rap game, but it is though. I feel like I would actually genuinely win. If we had a rap game with all the hosts, I feel like I'd talk the fastest and mess up the most. Anywho. He's in a lot of the living Why? He's in a lot of the living dummies. He's in a lot of the living dummy sagas, and he's saga. I'm sorry. I suck. Itchy. Why haven't we burnt it yet? That's my biggest question. That's life's biggest question. Hey, life's biggest questions. And I feel like if you're a fan, can I Deep breath because there's something in my throat. Sorry about that. And finally, at number when sorry.
Training wheels.
Yeah, after I'm done with him.